Well, hello there. This is Justin with another crossover minute. Informal as usual, casual, relaxed, aiming to be sitting actually with you, not just speaking at people vaguely and generally or behind a veil. I like to take time to talk about just real things that we experience, that we face spiritually in life, with one another, within ourselves. And for this time, for this moment, I just had a brief thought on truth. You know, deep down, there's a part of us, sometimes bigger or smaller than others, for the need and the desire to know truth. What is real, what is true, and what is just not just facts, but also just truth itself, the framework of truth and reality, things like that. And on so many different levels. And of course, sometimes there's a bigger part of us or a certain part of us that doesn't want to necessarily know or face the truth. But there is a safety in truth. And I'm with this time that we're sitting and talking, I'm not aiming at anything particular right now as far as in society or in our lives or in our. I'm just speaking very generally. Because the point of this message is not just that about truth, but it's what it takes. Like, what is the cost? Um, the biggest thing, like, I guess I guess the first thing that I realized personally just years ago was that I cannot really embrace the truth without humbleness. Truth requires, among other things, a complete assault on my pride. If I have a certain disposition of always being right or never wanting to look wrong or look like I don't know everything or know something in any given particular situation, have a hold on reality or things or myself or self-awareness or other, just anything, biblical doctrine, life principles. It could be it could be about the job that I'm working or the team that I'm on, and just having the right or best ideas or plan or way of doing things. You know, these are universal principles that tap into any one of these given areas. I I had years ago, I just had an issue with a subtle pride that I wasn't aware of. And it took me a long time to realize it. People were praying for me. And finally, one day, it began to slowly dawn on me. And it was very humbling, just that little bit that I recognized about myself, because it was also embarrassing. Because I realized with some 2020 hindsight, I was going to see a lot of things that were not very comfortable to admit about myself, with respect to how I was with people, and just what they must have seen and picked up on as far as just in different situations. I'm not talking about just being obnoxious and, but just in any just given conversation or situation or things like that. And I realized pride had to go on the altar every day the rest of my life, basically, if I was going to do this right. Because I needed to know the truth about myself. I needed to know and see how I actually am and how I'm actually coming across to people, and where I actually really am with God. Because that was the other thing that I began to realize, as I began to search this out, was that, you know, I may be deceiving myself into justifying certain things, maybe even certain sin or lifestyle or different things that I'm just dead wrong on. But I am I'm not humble enough to take just an honest look at myself, and an honest look at the Bible, honest look at things, honest look at life, honest look at anything, whatever we're talking about. Now, the thing to remember, though, is that this is not just something that is meant to be let's have this rod, because the moment we start to see some wrong things, we're going to start beating you over the head with it and beating you on the back and busting you up over. It's not like that, because by God's grace, and especially thanks to Jesus for the cross, we actually have a place with God that is based in grace, based in His righteousness, not ours. Some people go back and forth about the cross and all that. It is God's grace. I mean, why can't we just, on one level, just accept it, first of all, and just start from there, because that just opens up so much of God's grace that He so wants to give us and wants us to experience. And it's just as simple as accepting it. And then from that place, we have the safety of His grace, so that whatever we see in the mirror, after we're cleaning it off, or the window of our eyes, of the lens of our eyes, so whatever we're seeing in our world, whatever we're seeing right in front of us, or in our relationships, in our persons of interest in our lives, or in society, or just whatever, that we're in a place of grace, that no matter how pretty or ugly it may be, no matter how good or bad it may be, wrong or right it may be, we're operating from a place of grace with God, so that we can take an honest, safe look at those things, and then step by step just offer them up to God. Just give them over to God. So I just want to encourage you that truth is vital. It's critical to our lives. It saves our lives. But we can't experience the blessing of truth when we live in pride and other things that cause blinders to our eyes, or that stain the windows of the lens of our eyes, or that fog the mirrors so that we're not seeing things clearly as they are. So I encourage you, take time to take an honest look at your heart with respect to just pride itself, or self, justification of your life, or what are the things that we do to hold on to things, and why? Is it out of fear? Is it out of other things that were maybe traumatic in our lives, or just what? Because there is such a safe place with God when it comes to truth in the place of grace. And remember, the Word of God saying that you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. But you can't be free without knowing the truth. For example, one simple truth that we just talked about here, that the cross is God's grace for us to be able to sit with Him in His presence safely, and be able to be open and vulnerable without judgment, because Christ was judged for us on the cross. And so I pray that you would find this place of humbleness and willingness in your heart to come to those terms of peace with God in His grace, and then be able to sit with Him on the same side of the table, so to speak, and sort through your life and the things that need work, the things that need cleansed, the things that need strengthened, the things that are missing, broken, displeasing, unhelpful, unhealthy, sinful, good, healthy, strong, blessings, and be able to respond accordingly and operate accordingly with God in those things. Until next time, this is Justin with another Crossover Minute.